Hi everyone, welcome to today's GCSE Foundation Revision video. There's 22 days to go to your GCSE Maths exam, and today we're going to be focusing on the topic of volume. So we're going to be looking at finding the volume of three-dimensional shapes. So we're going to look at shapes such as your cuboids, we're going to be looking at prisms, we're going to be looking at cylinders, spheres, cones, and so on. So we're going to be looking at the volume of those different shapes today. Now, there's quite a lot of things we're going to cover in today's video, so I'd highly recommend that you perhaps get a piece of paper and that you write down some of the key information as we're going through the video. But also you try the questions. I'm going to be giving you lots of questions to try today, so remember to press pause and try those questions. So today there's quite a lot of information we're going to be going through, so let's get started. Okay, so let's start off by finding the volume of a prism. So to find the volume of a prism, we find the cross-sectional area, so that's the area of the cross-section, and you multiply by the length of the prism. So if we wanted to find the volume of this triangular prism, we find the area of this triangle, so there, this triangle at the front, and then we just multiply by how long the prism is. So we're going to find the area of this triangle. So to find the area of a triangle, we do half the base times the height, so we're going to do half of, and we could either do half of 7 and then multiply that by 5, or we could do 7 times 5 and then half it. So I'm going to do half of 7 times 5. So 7 times 5 is equal to 35, so we're going to do half of 35, and a half of 35 is equal to 17.5 meters squared. So the area of the front of this triangular prism is 17.5 or 17.5 meters squared. Now to find the volume, we're going to do the area, which is the cross-sectional area, which is 17.5, and then we're just going to multiply by how long the prism is, which is 4. And if we do 17.5 multiplied by 4, we'll find the volume of this triangular prism. So 17.5 multiplied by 4 is equal to 70, so 70 meters cubed. So the volume of this triangular prism is 70 meters cubed, and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. So here we've got a prism, and feel free to press pause and find the volume of this prism now. Okay, so if we wanted to find the volume of this prism, so the cross-section of the prism is a trapezium. So we need to find the area of a trapezium. And think back to our previous videos where we found the area of a trapezium. The area of a trapezium is equal to half a plus b, which is the two parallel sides, multiplied by the height. So we're going to do the two parallel sides added together, so it's going to be 5 plus 11. We're going to half that, and then we're going to multiply by h, the distance between them, which is 8. So let's do that. So it's going to be half the two parallel sides added together, so it's going to be 5 plus 11. And then we're going to multiply by h, the distance between them, which is going to be multiplied by 8. So it's going to be 5 plus 11 is equal to 16, so half of 16 multiplied by 8. And then half of 16 is 8, so we've got 8 multiplied by 8, which is equal to 64. So it's going to be 64 centimeters squared. So that's the area of the cross-section, the area of that trapezium. And then we just need to multiply by how long the prism is. And the prism has got a length of 17 centimeters, so we just need to get the volume. We're going to do 64 multiplied by 17. And we can do that in our calculator. 64 multiplied by 17 is equal to 1,088 centimeters cubed. So that's the volume of that prism. And if you got that, well done. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. So this time we've got a triangular prism and a cuboid, and we're told the volume of this triangular prism and the cuboid are equal to each other. Find x, which is the length of the cuboid. So feel free to press pause and work out the length of this cuboid now. Okay, so if I was to do this question, the first thing I would do is work out the volume of the triangular prism. So for the triangular prism, we want to find the area of the cross-section, and the cross-section is this triangle. So we're going to find the area of this triangle and then multiply that by 20. So to find the area of the triangle, we're going to do half the base times the height, or we could do the base times the height and then half it. So I'm going to do 5 times 8, which is equal to 40, and then half it is 20. So the area of this triangle will be 20 centimeters squared. Let's show that. So half of 8 times 5, that's the area of the triangle. 8 times 5 is 40, so it's a half of 40, and a half of 40 is equal to 20, so 20 centimeters squared. So that's the area of this triangle. Now we just need to multiply by how long the prism is, which is 20. So if we do the volume is equal to 20 multiplied by 20, which is equal to 400 centimeters cubed. So the volume of this prism, this triangular prism, is 400 centimeters cubed. And if you got that, well done. Now what we need to do is we need to find the length of this cuboid. Now we're told the volumes are equal, so that means the volume, if the volume of this one is 400 centimeters cubed, the volume of this one is 400 centimeters cubed. So that means for the volume of the cuboid, we do the length multiplied by the width multiplied by the height, or if you think about it, it's the area of the cross-section. So multiplying these two together gives us the area of this rectangle, and then multiplying by how long it is. So in other words, if we multiply 3.2 by 5 by x, we're going to get 400. 5 multiplied by 3.2 multiplied by x is equal to 400. So let's work this out. 5 multiplied by 3.2 is 16, times x would be 16x is equal to 400, and dividing by 16 would give us x is equal to 25. So it means that x is equal to 25 centimeters. The length of that cuboid is 25 centimeters. And if you got that, well done. Okay, let's have a look at our next one. So this time we've got a cylinder. We want to find the volume of the cylinder. So again, we want to find the area of the cross section. So there, the cross section. The cross section of the cylinder, if you slice it, will be a circle. So the cross section of the cylinder is a circle. So we're going to find the area of the circle using pi r squared. And then we're going to multiply by the length or the height of the cylinder. So we're going to do the volume of a cylinder is equal to pi r squared, the area of the cross section, multiplied by the height of it or the length of it. So I'm going to just call it h, the height. So the volume of the cylinder is pi r squared h. So that means if we want to find the volume of the cylinder, we're going to do pi multiplied by the radius. So that's the radius of the circle, which is 3 squared, multiplied by the height of the cylinder or the length of it, which is equal to 14. And if we do this, we get pi multiplied by 3 squared multiplied by 14 is equal to 126 pi, or as a decimal, 395.84067444 and so on centimeters cubed. And we can round that. Let's round the 2 decimal places. That'll be 395.84 centimeters cubed to 2 decimal places. And if you got that, well done. Okay, let's have a look at another volume of a cylinder question. So here's a cylinder. Can you find the volume of the cylinder? Now this is a non-calculator question, so put your calculator down and find the volume of the cylinder and give your answer in terms of pi. So to find the volume of a cylinder, the volume is equal to pi r squared h, the area of this cross section, the area of the circle, multiplied by the height or the length of it. So we're going to do pi multiplied by the radius. Now the diameter of the circle is equal to 4 centimeters. That means the distance halfway across it will be 2 centimeters. So we're going to do pi multiplied by the radius of the circle, which is 2 squared, multiplied by the height of it, which is 10. Now remember, this is a non-calculator question, so we can't use our calculator at this point. So we're going to do, remember, order of operations, we're going to do our squaring first. So 2 squared is 4, so that's pi multiplied by 4 multiplied by 10. And then 4 times 10 is 40, multiplied by pi. Well, we put the 40 in the front, so 40 pi centimeters cubed. And if you got that, well done. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. So our next question says a solid metal triangular prism. So this is a solid metal triangular prism and it's melted down and the metal is used to create a solid metal cube. So a solid metal cube. And we've been asked to find x, the side length of the metal cube. So let's have a look at this question. We're told the solid metal triangular prism is melted down and the metal is used to create a solid metal cube. And feel free to press pause and to find the side length of this cube. So if we find the volume of this triangular prism, we'll then know the volume of the cube, and then we can find the side length by cube rooting it. So let's find the volume of the triangular prism. So we want to find the area of the front, this triangle, the cross section. So the area of the triangle is half the base times the height. So the base of the triangle is 9. The height of the triangle is 4. This 6 is a diagonal. We don't actually need it. It's a bit of a red herring, so we don't need this 6 here. So we're going to find the area of this triangle. So we're going to do half the base times the height. So that's half of 9 times 4. And 9 times 4 is 36. That's a half of 36. And a half of 36 is 18. So that's 18 centimeters squared. So that's the area of the cross section. We now need to times by how long the prism is, which is 12 centimeters. So 18 multiplied by 12 is equal to 216 centimeters cubed. So the volume of this triangular prism is 216 centimeters cubed, and that means it's 216 centimeters cubed of metal, and that means that whenever this metal cube is formed, this cube is formed out of metal, then what you will find is its volume is, the volume of this will be equal to 216 centimeters cubed. That's the volume. We want to find the side length. So remember, for the volume of a cube, we do the length times the width times the height, and that's going to be x times x times x. So you've got x cubed is equal to 216. If you want to find the side length, you're just going to cube root. So we're going to do the cube root of 216, and the cube root of 216 is equal to 6. So the side length for this is 6 centimeters, and that's it. Question says an empty paddling pool, so this is a paddling pool and it's empty, and it's being filled at a rate of 3 litres per second. So there's perhaps a hose put in it and it's being filled up at 3 litres per second. So every second 3 litres is going into that paddling pool. And the question says, how long does it take to fill the pool? Give your answer to the nearest minute. Okay, and feel free to press pause and to try this question now yourself and see how you get on. So what we need to do is we need to find the volume of the paddling pool, and it's a cylinder, so we need to find the volume of the cylinder. So the volume of the cylinder, now we've got here meters and centimeters, so let's change this into centimeters. So 2.5 meters would be 250 centimeters. So we know the radius of the paddling pool, and we know the height of the paddling pool, and the volume would be equal to pi r squared h. That's pi r squared, the area of the cross section, times the height. So we're going to do pi multiplied by the radius squared, that's 250 squared, multiplied by the height, which is 90. And if we do pi multiplied by, so pi multiplied by 250 squared multiplied by 90, we get a volume of 17,671,458.68 centimeters cubed. So that's the volume of the cylinder, the volume of the paddling pool. Now we've been asked how long does it take to fill. That's been filled at a rate of 3 litres per second. Now 1 litre is equal to 1,000 centimeters cubed. So that means that every single second 3 litres is going in, so 3,000 centimetres cubed of water is going into that pool every single second. So if we divide this, the volume of the pool, by 3,000, we'll see how many seconds it would take to fill the pool. So let's do that. So let's take our 17,671,458.68 and divide that by 3,000 and see what we get. So that's equal to 5,890.486225 and so on seconds. So that's how many seconds it would take to fill that paddling pool. Now we've been asked to find how long it takes in minutes. So let's divide this by 60. So if we do 5,890.486 and so on and divide that by 60, that'll tell us how many minutes it would take to divide by 60. And that'd be equal to 98.174 and so on minutes. And we've been asked to give our answer to the nearest minute. So this is 98.17. So we've run that, that'll be 98 minutes. So to the nearest minute, it'd take 98 minutes to fill that pool, 98 minutes. And that's it. And if you got that, well done. The volume of a pyramid and the volume of a cone. So let's start off by looking at the volume of a pyramid. So to find the volume of a pyramid, we do a third the area of the base multiplied by the height. So we do a third of the area of the base and then we multiply that by the height, and that'll give us the volume of the pyramid. So here we've got a pyramid, and the base of this pyramid is a rectangle. As you can see, it's 9 centimeters by 6 centimeters, and the height of the pyramid is 7 centimeters. So if I wanted to find the volume of this pyramid, what I would do is I'd find the area of the base, do a third of it, and then multiply by the height. So the volume is equal to a third the area of the base, so that would be 6 times 9, so 6 times 9, because it's a rectangle, the area of the rectangle would be 6 times 9, which would be 54, and then multiply by the height. So we would do a third, and 6 times 9 is equal to 54, and then we would multiply by 7. Now here we could do 54 multiplied by 7 and then divide by 3, or I'm going to do a third of 54 and then multiply by 7. So 54 divided by 3 is equal to 18. So we've got 18 multiplied by 7, and 18 multiplied by 7 would be equal to 126. So the volume of this pyramid would be 126 centimeters cubed, and that's it. So to find the volume of a pyramid, you do a third the area of the base and then multiply by the height, and that's it. Okay, so here's one for you to try now. Can you find the volume of this pyramid? So press pause and find the volume of this pyramid. Okay, so to find the volume of this pyramid, as you can see, the base is a rectangle, so we're going to do the volume is equal to a third. The area of the base, because it's a rectangle, it would be 12 times 8 would be its area, so 12 times 8, and then we're going to multiply it by its height, which is equal to 10. So that means the volume would be a third. Now 12 times 8 would be equal to 96, so it's a third of 96 multiplied by the height. Now you could do 96 times 10, which is 960, and then divide by 3. I'm going to do 96 divided by 3 first of all. I'm going to get a third of it, which is 32, and then multiply by 10, the height, and 32 times 10 is equal to 320 centimeters cubed. So if you go 320 centimeters cubed for the volume of that pyramid, well done. Okay, so we've had a look at finding the volume of a pyramid. Now let's have a look at finding the volume of a cone. So here we've got a cone, and to find the volume of a cone, we do a third pi r squared h. So the volume of a cone is a third the area of the base, the pi r squared, times the height. And in terms of your GCSE, that formula is given to you, so that you don't need to learn that one off by heart. Now I know it off by heart, but that one's given to you, so you don't need to learn it off by heart. So we've got the volume of a cone is a third pi r squared h. So here we've got a cone. I'm going to work out the volume of this cone now, and then after I do this one, there'll be one for you to try. Okay, so to start off with, here's an example, and I'm going to find the volume of this cone. Now I'm going to do this question twice. I'm going to do it as a calculator question to begin with, and then I'm going to show you how to do it as a non-calculator question. And then what I'm going to do is give you one to try yourself. So here we've got a cone, and what we're going to do is we're going to find the volume of it using a calculator to begin with. So if I was to use a calculator to find the volume of this cone, I'll just write down the formula. The volume is equal to a third times pi times the radius squared times the height. I would substitute in the values for the radius. So the radius of the base of the cone is 4 and the height of the cone is 9. So let's substitute those in. So the volume would be a third multiplied by pi multiplied by the radius, which is 4 squared, then multiplied by the height of the cone, which is 9. And then I would just type this into my calculator. I would just do a third multiplied by pi multiplied by 4 squared multiplied by 9. And when I do that, I get that's equal to 48 pi. That's going to be handy whenever we do this as a non-calculator approach. We're looking for 48 pi. But I'm going to change that into decimals. That'd be 150.79644474 and so on centimeters cubed. And if we're asked to give that to so many decimal places, let's give it a one decimal place. That'd be 150.8 centimeters cubed. And that's the volume of that cone. So that's how I'd work it out using a calculator. Now, if I was doing this question in terms of a non-calculator question, what I would do is I would start off with the first step, writing down the volume is equal to a third multiplied by pi r squared multiplied by the height. I would then substitute in the values like I've done before. So a third multiplied by pi multiplied by the radius of the base, which is 4 squared, then multiplied by the height of the cone, which is 9. So far it's the same. Now in a calculator question, I would just type this in. Without a calculator, I'm going to have to work it out. So remember our order of operations, we're going to square the radius first. So 4 squared is 16. So that's a third multiplied by pi, and 4 squared is 16. So 16 multiplied by 9. Okay, so we've now got a third times pi times 16 times 9. There's a few approaches we could use here. One approach is we could look, well, we're trying to do a third of something. We could look for any numbers that are divisible by 3. So here the 9 is divisible by 3. So we could do a third of 9 first of all, and a third of 9 is equal to 3. And then we could do 3 times 16, and 3 times 16 is equal to 48. So that would be 48 pi. So that's how we could get 48 pi there, 48 pi centimeters cubed. So we've done a third of 9, which is 3, and then done the 3 times 16, which is equal to 48. So we've got 48 pi centimeters cubed. Alternatively, you could do 16 times 9, so you could do 16 multiplied by 9. So 9 times 6 is 54, put the 4 down, carry the 5. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 5 is 14, so we've got 144. So that's 16 times 9 is 144, but we want a third of it, so we're going to do 144 divided by 3. So how many 3's go into 1? 0, remainder 1. How many 3's go into 14? That'll be 4. Remainder 2, and how many 3's go into 24? That'll be 8. So that'll be the 48 pi as well. So that would be the volume of that cone. And that's how we do it in terms of a calculator question and a non-calculator question. Okay, let's have a look now at a question for you to try. So here we've got a cone. This time we've got a cone. The diameter of the base of the cone is equal to 12 centimeters. The height of the cone is equal to 14 centimeters. Can you find the volume of this cone? And do the question twice. Do it as a calculator question to begin with, and then a non-calculator question after, and see if you can get it right. The volume is equal to a third multiplied by pi multiplied by the radius of the base. Now the diameter of the base is equal to 12, so the radius would be equal to 6, so 6 centimeters would be halfway across, so that would be 6 squared multiplied by the height of the cone, which is 14. Now in a calculator question, this is great. We could just type this in, and we could just do a third multiplied by pi multiplied by 6 squared multiplied by 14, and if you do that, you get an answer of 168 pi, and that'd be handy for your non-calculator approach, or in terms of a decimal, 527.7875 and so on centimeters cubed, and that would be the volume of that cone. If you got that, well done. And you could have rounded it to 527.8 or something like that centimeters cubed also. So that's how you do that question as a calculator question. You just type it in. In terms of a non-calculator question, you would do the first step the same. So you do a third times pi times the radius of the base, which is 6 squared multiplied by 14. Let's do our Bob math. So we have to square first of all. 6 squared is equal to 36. So we get that's equal to a third multiplied by pi multiplied by 36, because 6 squared is 36 multiplied by 14. Now at this point, you could do 36 times 14 and then divide by 3. I'm actually going to do a third of 36 to begin with, and a third of 36 is 12, and then we need to do times 14. So let's do 14 multiplied by 12 and see what we get. 2 times 4 is equal to 8, so put our 8 down. 2 times 1 is equal to 2, so we've got that's equal, so we've multiplied by 14 by 2 and got 28. Now we need to multiply by 10 to put our 0 down. 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 1 is equal to 1. And when we add those together, we get 168. So that'd be 168 pi centimeters cubed. And if you got that, well done. So I just done a third of the 36, which is 12, and then done 12 times 14, and then that would be 168 pi centimeters cubed. So if we want to find the volume of a sphere, we use the formula 4/3 pi r cubed. So the volume is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. Now that formula is given to you. The volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. So here we've got a sphere, and if you want to find the volume of the sphere, feel free to press pause now and work out the volume of that sphere and do it yourself. Otherwise, in a second, I'm going to go through it. Okay, so if I wanted to find the volume of the sphere, I'd do the volume is equal to 4/3 multiplied by pi multiplied by the radius of the sphere, which is 14 cubed. Now this is a calculator question, so it's quite nice. We can just do on our calculator 4/3 multiplied by pi multiplied by 14 cubed, and that gives us an answer of 10,976 over 3 pi, or 11,494.04032 and so on centimeters cubed. And let's just round that to 2 decimal places. That'll be 11,494.04 centimeters cubed to 2 decimal places, and that's it. And if you got that, well done. So that's how we find the volume of that sphere. Okay, let's have a look at another question. So this time we've got a sphere, and feel free to press pause and find the volume of this sphere. Okay, so if I wanted to find the volume of the sphere, what I would do is I would do the volume is equal to 4/3 multiplied by pi multiplied by the radius. Now in this case, the diameter of the sphere is equal to 7 meters. So it means the radius halfway across it would be 3.5 meters. So that means the radius is 3.5, so 3.5 cubed. And again, this is a calculator question, so we can just type this in on our calculator. And when we do that, we get 343 over 6 pi, or 179.59438, and so on, meters cubed. And let's just round this. I'm going to round it to one decimal place. That'll be 179.6 meters cubed to one decimal place. And that's it. And if you got that, well done. Okay, let's have a look at another question. So this time, this is a non-calculator question. So I'll put my calculator down. And I want us to find the volume of the sphere. And feel free to do this question now. So press pause and find the volume of the sphere, but you can't use a calculator. Okay, so if we want to find the volume of the sphere, the volume is equal to 4/3 multiplied by pi multiplied by the radius, which is 6 cubed. So we need to work out what 6 cubed is. So 6 times 6 is equal to 36. And then if we do 36 multiplied by 6, let's see what we get. 6 times 6 is 36. So put our 6 down, carry our 3. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 3 is 21. So 6 cubed is 216. So we've got the volume is equal to 4/3 multiplied by pi multiplied by 216. So we've worked out 6 cubed. Now we just need to work out 4/3 of 216. So to find 4/3 of something, we divide by the denominator. We're going to divide it by 3, and then we'll get that answer, and then times it by the numerator, which is 4. So let's do 216 divided by 3. So how many 3's go into 2? 0, remainder 2. How many 3's go into 21? 7. And how many 3's go into 6? That's 2. So if we divide 216 by 3, we get 72. Now we need to do 72 multiplied by 4, because we're working out 4/3 of it. So multiply by 4. 4 times 2 is equal to 8, and 4 times 7 is equal to 28. So 4/3 of 216 is 288. So the answer would be 288 pi, and then our unit centimeters cubed, and that's it. So if you've done that and you got that correct, well done. And that's it. So in this video, we've looked at how to find the volume of cubes and cuboids and prisms and cylinders and spheres and cones and so on. So we've gone through a lot of information. I really hope you found it useful. Obviously, with today's topic, there's a lot of different things you can do in terms of the practice questions. So in the description below, I put a link to each one of the sets of practice questions for those topics today. So I really hope you found this video useful. If you have found it useful, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And obviously tomorrow there's 3 weeks to go to your GCSE Maths exam. At this point, what I would say is it's very important that you are ramping up your revision. You're doing more revision than perhaps you were with 100 days to go, and you're putting that big effort in between now and the exam. So hopefully you peak at the right time and get a fantastic grade in your GCSE Maths exam. So keep up the hard work, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next video. Cheers, bye.